some people use the strategy of buying a good domain name because they are looking to get the benefits of the good history that that domain name has with Google. And the idea is that if you can sort of inherit those good results or inherit those good signals of the domain name by buying it, then you can get good results for your website. You can sort of hit the ground running and get even better results by doing more organic SEO work in your website. That can be a good strategy, but it's a very, very risky strategy in my opinion. I would say over the period that I've been doing SEO, I've seen a couple of people get great results by doing this, but then I've seen nearly 10 times as many people getting terrible results by doing this. And the reason for that is that when you buy a domain name that is supposed to have some sort of history with Google, you need to do an extensive amount of research to make sure that all that history is actually good, as opposed to good and bad or a set of mixed signals. Because what tends to happen in majority of cases is that when you buy a domain name that's seemingly good on the surface, so when you look at the domain name, you think this looks like a good domain name, it's been around for 20 years, it must have a good amount of history, it used to be prominent in the old days, and you buy the domain name, and then you realize that at some stage along the line, the owner of that domain name did something wrong with it, or Google got a set of bad signals in relation to that website. By doing that, you can actually inherit all those bad signals along with the good ones and get terrible results. But at the same time, in a lot of cases, when the domain name moves from one owner to another, or from one set of services to another, in a lot of cases, both the good and the bad signals are pretty much obliterated during the transfer process. So what you get is basically a domain name that may have been good in the old days, but now is of no relevance really. And you get no benefit by doing that. There's absolutely no benefit by acquiring a domain name that has a good amount of history in a lot of cases. So do pay attention to what you're doing, how you're doing it. Do a good amount of research. You may be onto a good thing, but then again, you may be onto something that's nothing special. So if you know what you're doing in this area, great. But if you don't, then there are other areas where you could pay more attention and get better results instead of worrying about whether or not you can bypass the journey, the organic SEO work journey, and just bypass that and take a shortcut to great results. It may work out for you, but it's a bit of a gamble because in majority of cases it doesn't.